this is about a 4-month-old puppy, and this one's been in training for about 6 to 8 weeks. And we just start out with the food motivation system to teach engagement with the handler. You know, food is like one of the most basic needs in the dog. Not only does the dog want it, it needs it. So the handler's providing the dog with something the dog actually needs for survival, and it has a huge impact on the relationship between the dog and the handler. So not only is the dog learning positions and verbal commands, which are super important, but the dog is learning to really depend on and interact with the handler. So the exercises we begin with are teaching the dog to respond to its name. So over and over the handler is saying the dog's name, and every time the dog interacts with her, she's rewarding that initially. And then we start adding a command for recall. She's teaching the dog here. The little spin maneuvers are, quote, a trick, but again, you're giving the dog a chance to give you a behavior that it can get rewarded for. We start teaching the dog to get into the heel position, and this dog's been worked on a leash some, and later this would translate into good leash manners where the dog knows to walk on a loose leash beside the handler. And by developing all this focus with the dog, then you're able to use it in a public environment or when people in your home. You know, you become the primary focus of the dog, so you don't have a dog that's distracted. It's not really bothering other people. This dog will let people pet him, and he's a social dog, but unless he's allowed to interact with other people or people really encourage him to, he's just going to pay attention to his handler. So really you teach your dog good manners by doing this also. It's not a nuisance to other people. Everybody doesn't like dogs. Everyone doesn't want to pet your dog. So a dog trained like this, he won't really go to other people seeking attention unless they really encourage him to. And the dog likes it. You know, it's something fun you can do with your dog. It just gives you a really good relationship with the dog. And this is a typical training session. Okay, look here, we're adding a distraction. And the dog's learned, look, he's going to look away, but he's going to look back at the handler. So the dog is learning, just pay attention to her. There's no reason to run to that guy. He's not the one that's rewarding me. And this is a typical length of a training session with a dog this age. And you can do multiple sessions like this a day with your dog by doing the food reward system. This dog literally eats out of the handler's hands throughout the course of the day. You can do 4, 5, 6 training sessions a day with a young dog like this if you have time. And if you don't, almost anyone would have time to spend 5 minutes in the morning doing some of this type of training with the dog's breakfast, and then you give the dog the rest of its meal at some point. It's like giving them a bonus paycheck. Right now the dog's getting paid $1 an hour, a few pieces of dog food at a time. But at the end of the session, you could give the dog the rest of her bowl of dog food, and you're basically giving the dog a big payment for the effort that it's given you.